Chairman Arrington and Ranking Member Boyle, members of the committee, thank you for inviting me here today. Late last year, the Center for Renewing America released a proposed budget that sought to provide a strategic vision, indelibly linking the efforts for getting our nation's finances in order with removing the menace of woke and weaponized bureaucracy, which is aimed squarely at the American people. The main thing I hope to leave with you today is a conviction that the woke enterprise is in fact a cultural revolution bent on destroying America. The federal government is now a main distribution channel of it, and if you do not act soon, we will not have a country left. So first, what does woke mean? Historically, woke meant being aware of racial injustices. However, decades later, woke is now identity-based neo-Marxism, and its goal is to destroy American society. The woke adopt the view that our society is structured to oppress the marginalized and that differences between groups are attributable to this systemic oppression. The required solution is to abolish those oppressive norms in the name of equity, that is, equal outcomes regardless of merit. In sum, the woke stoke division among Americans based on identity in order to tear down the republic, eliminate capitalism, marginalize religion, and rupture the nuclear family. As I mentioned, our budget proposal took an in-depth look at each department and found that the federal bureaucracy is a significant funder of this woke cultural revolution. It is the framework by which the bureaucracy operates. It is how it structures its programs and makes funding decisions and what trainings and guidelines it adopts. And because the bureaucracy is so big and spends trillions of dollars, private businesses are happily coerced into the same mission. Just a small sample of what we found in health and education and foreign aid. The Department of Health and Human Services and the National Institutes of Health actively push so-called gender-affirming care, which is cross-sex hormones and surgical mutilation, even for minors. NIH funds human fetal tissue harvesting from aborted babies for medical research. And CDC spent nearly $6 billion to address so-called COVID health disparities through the lens of health equity. 25 states allow Medicaid to pay for chemical castration via hormone therapy, and 23 states pay for irreversible and mutilating genital surgery. And the Biden administration's Section 1557 rule would require all insurance to cover chemical castration and sex change surgeries or be deemed discriminatory. Federal grants often have a specific woke purpose, but they also serve as a taxpayer-funded lifeline to civil institutions committed to spreading the woke dogma. The University of Maryland Medical System performs gender transition surgeries on boys and girls at the earliest onset of puberty as young as 9 and 10 years old, and received a $3.5 million grant to increase mental health and advance gender-affirming care. Or take $4.7 million in a CDC grant to the National Minority AIDS Council for training and technical assistance. That organization engages in pro-Black Lives Matter activism and promotes radical gender theory. 3 CDC grants totaling $8 million went to Access Matters, which is based in Philadelphia, for so-called family health care. That organization says its abortion services are provided through the lens of equity, which means explicitly pushing abortion on vulnerable minority populations. The Department of Education, often under the guise of culturally responsive learning and social emotional learning, is an active adversary of parents and citizens concerned about the inherent race essentialism of CRT and gender theory. Through its equity assistance centers, it trains teachers to incorporate critical race theory and gender transition of children without parental knowledge. It also provided more than $60 million through its SEED program to morph teachers into essentially progressive activists. The department's cultural learning was featured in its K-12 history and civics education competitive grant program, which reminds applicants that America is systemically racist and emphasized both Ibrahim Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist and the factually challenged 1619 project. Lastly, at least for this testimony, the State Department's diplomatic programs remain geared toward exporting woke ideology abroad. Millions of dollars go to support programs like gay pride parades in Prague, LGBTI activists in Senegal, LGBTQIA+ social events in Australia, and drag theater in Ecuador. Woke is the umbrella ideology, and it uses all manner of terms and concepts like equity and inclusion. Every dollar should be examined to determine what, in fact, the country is spending money on. This should absolutely not be an exercise in austerity wherein every program must take a hit. Wokeness is now essentially a taxpayer-funded secular religion crafted by secular elites to supplant the nation's Judeo-Christian traditions that have stood the test of time. It is dangerous, existentially dangerous, for Congress to continue funding the priorities of a neo-Marxist ideology that seeks only to destroy that which has come before. Thank you.